Hello, everybody. I want to start off by saying that I have chosen to research about sickle cell disease. I actually went to college with a lot of students that was suffering from this disease, and I really wanted to learn more about it, understand what people go through and why there isn't really a cure. Fun fact, it was actually first discovered by James Harrick in 1910. So we're going to start with a little bit of the background of what sickle cell disease is. It's a severe hereditary form of anemia, basically, in which a mutated form of hemoglobin distorts the red blood cells into a crescent shape. Basically, just like this right here. So this right here would be a normal hemoglobin, and then this right here, the crescent shape, would be a sickle cell disease, and this is where you can see that it also clogs the arteries, the blockage. Hemoglobin is actually the red proteins responsible for transporting oxygen in the blood of vertebrates, and its molecule contains about 4 subunits, and they have stiff rod. The stiff rods cause them not to be flexible and doesn't change in shape easily. Usually, sickle cells have a lifespan of about 10 to 20 days. Compared to the normal 90 to 120 days. It sticks to the vessel walls, causing a blockage and slows the flow of blood right here, as you can see, and that's where a lot of the pain crisis happens, because there's not a lot of the lack of oxygen in the body is what has how they endure a lot of the pain. The genetic principles of SCD. Actually, sickle cell disease was the first monogenic disorder to be characterized by the molecular level. And a monogenic disorder is basically a single defective gene that creates the disorder. It results from the substitution of glutamic acid by valine at position 6 of the B chain of hemoglobin. And let's see. Okay, the phenotypic features. SCD usually shows early in life, usually 6 months of life. The pain crisis are to be well known and can happen suddenly, usually lasting for maybe like a couple of hours to several days, and that's when usually people need to be hospitalized. You can have low chronic pain basically throughout your life, mainly in your joints and your bones, and and a lot of the things that you can deal with is infection, effects on growth and maturation, hand-foot syndrome. I think I have a picture of that. As you can see, these are the hands, and the feet don't really show. But you can also have leg ulcers from the lack of proper blood flow, and priapism, which is unwanted erections, and central nervous system issues, which can also lead to strokes. The case study that I did was on a 27-year-old African American male. He, of course, suffered from SCD, and he had symptoms of redness and swelling in his feet. He didn't use any over-the-counter medications to deal with his pain. And he admitted himself to the hospital, where all his vital signs were normal. He showed no case of infection, but they did end up giving him empiric and antibiotic therapy, which actually made it much worse, And so that's when he was sent to the institution ED, where they went and prescribed a MRI by a podiatrist, and that is when the diagnosis of myocrosis was given. Myocrosis is a painful occurrence in CSD on the feet, and it results in reduced blood flow due to the red blood cells becoming rigid and basically that crescent shape. So yeah, after the MRI was done, actually there was no medication given. No formal medication was given. He was sent with orders of proper hydration, no heavy weight lifting or picking up anything heavy on the affected feet, and pain meds to resolve the pain and symptoms that he was having. And that is the foot and the affected area right there. Sorry. Okay, the etiology of SCD. Mutations of the HBB can cause sickle cell, and HBB is basically what provides the instructions for making a protein called beta globin, which is a subunit of the protein hemoglobin. In sickle cell, the hemoglobin S actually replaces both beta cells subunits in the hemoglobin. Management. Now, there is technically actually no cure for sickle cell disease except for a bone marrow transplant. And basically, this is not really done unless it's really urgent, mainly for younger kids who have the progressive, the worst side of CSD. Only because basically what happens is there's a bone marrow, and you go through either radiation and chemo to get rid of the bad affected bone marrow, and then replace it with the transplanted bone marrow, and it basically has to come from someone that's related to you, mainly a brother or a sister. Even after taking the medications for your body not to reject it, it could possibly reject it, and either that sometimes could lead to death or complications. Treatment options include antibiotics, which reduces the risk of infection, and then pain-relieving medications that relieves the pain crisis, and hydroxia, which reduces the need for blood transfusions constantly and also relieves frequent pain. And inheritance risk, SCD is an autosomal recessive pattern, which means both copies of the gene in each cell have mutations, and the parents of the individuals with an autosomal recessive condition each carry one copy of the mutated gene. So basically, the parents don't actually have to have the disease, sickle cell disease, but they should carry it to. They should be able to carry the gene, and you need both parents to have the full diagnosis. And these are my cited pages. Thank you for watching my page, and I hope you learned a little bit of sickle cell disease the way I did.